I hope you got a second for a story, because I just want to preface how this all came about in my mind. I used to work on the road from time to time because Don Lombardi and I, we started this company on a shoestring budget, and there was not a lot of room for things such as what we get to do today, thanks to the industry accepting what we do. So I'd go on the road, just, for a few months, 2-3 months. And that afforded us the time to realize, what cymbal stand breaks, what double pedal linkage is cool. And, great guys like Chad Wackerman would be a guinea pig for this doggone thing. And I wound up fixing them, in the middle of a show. But we were down in Australia with a band called Men at Work. And Colin Hay, the leader of the band, has since become a pretty good friend. And we reminisce because he was my boss at that time. And we go down there, and this was in 1985. So we're rehearsing in Collingwood, right outside of Melbourne. And at the end of the day, what's there to do? The whole crew scatters, and what do? You go back to the hotel. So I somehow met this man, Bill Mackin. And Bill Mackin and I just became great friends. And to this day, he has remained one of my very best friends in the world. And he comes up here being Los Angeles, but being the bad friend that I really am, since 1985, I haven't reciprocated to go down and visit with him in Melbourne. And so I'm just kind of at my desk, checking my emails, and this gentleman, Scott, emails me. He says, would you be interested in wood from Australia? So I start looking it all up. And to me, that's an exciting thing. People come into my office, they go, hold on a second, wait. I'm in the middle of reading this thing. Blackheart sassafras. Now, the way sassafras really does its thing, and not many people know about this, but the tree grows, the grand tree, and the weather or a storm or something of that nature may topple the top part of the tree and expose parts of it to actually let the moisture trickle into it. And you've got to let it alone. Let it grow, let the heart become colorful, etc. You don't want to harvest that right away. So you got to know what you're doing with this stuff. The other side of it was blackwood, Tasmanian blackwood, or Australian blackwood. Now, that's a cousin of koa. And koa, of course, is what you make ukuleles and guitars out of. And they're beautiful tone woods. This is a cousin. So it's a long way away. We take off when we get down there, and I suddenly realized that I had not really been there in 32 years. And it's one of those musical scenes that, I haven't partaken in since 1985. Here we are in 2018. And Bill Mackin's driving me back to his house. Bill's got this room that is a shrine to DW. That he's got this glorious bar that he built, and he had this nice wooden piece that said the goods bar, he was anticipating us coming, and he's built this beautiful home. And I was confiding in Bill, what am I gonna see there? You've been to Tasmania and I haven't. He says, well, things in Tasmania, it's kind of like the Wild West. It's a elite, cool place, and you're gonna love it. If you could just feel the vibe of enthusiasm, love, and great things. You're being with your best friend there. I felt like I was in great hands, and he was going with us. So we take off and we go to Tasmania. It's in this place called Burnie. So I'm used to going to these great big mills, right? The deal with this is that it's a specialized group of people who cut timber in a different way. And you've got to really know what you're doing to make this work out. So we get in the car, we drive over there, and I'm expecting a huge factory, and it's not. It's a big shed with a saw. So I'm going, okay. And it's getting pretty cold. It's about 3 degrees Celsius, and there was a can, a 55-gallon can with some wood jammed in it, and that was the heater, you know, and it just rained, so our shoes were sinking in mud, and et cetera. But let me tell you, it was one of the most charming deals I've ever done. So different than anything I've ever experienced before. Storms roll in, storms roll out. I fell in love with the place, the scenery, the greenery, the beauty, and the timber. And they roll up one of these great big logs on there, and I'm looking at it, and the wind's blowing in, and now there's a storm coming, and it's a perfect setting. I'm freezing cold, my shoes are in mud, and we got our jackets on, you know, and the first thing they do is they take this thing and they cut, like in quarters. They turn the log and they cut it, and they turn the log and they cut it. And what they're trying to do is get the sap off, get down to where the heart is. And the heart of this tree, if you cut it wrong, you destroy the whole thing. And it only comes in pieces that, with our best of luck, are maybe 6, 7 inches wide. And they're so colorful. And when they cut this baby open and they poured some water on it, you get to see the color of it all. It suddenly occurred to me, this is where I need to be. These are the folks I need to be with. And this is going to be an incredibly special kit. So then we looked at the blackwood. Now, Australian, Tasmanian blackwood is another thing that can't be rotary cut. Most of the things that I'm used to doing for the core of a drum shell is rotary cut material. We had to, like, you know, really look at this material and how much it was going to take, et cetera, and these guys are going, well, John, I don't know. I mean, that's a lot of it. How many drum sets are you going to make? And I said, I want to make 200 drum kits and 200 snares. They said, look, we got this much material, and let's get you started with this. So off we go back to Los Angeles. The first load of material comes, and we rip that baby open, and there it is. But nobody had heard this thing yet, so I said, let's put it together, let's put it together. Of course, I want stuff done like that, and there's an artful way to do this. You can't just start sticking wood together. Some of it we glue together on a special machine, and some of it we have to cut, you know, very precisely and tape it in such a way that it's really tight, because you want the tonality to travel through the wood. And Sean and I came up with this concoction of a VLT shell, which stands for vertical low timbre. And, you know, it's all about, if you've got vertical grain, that's as low as that tension thing could bring it. But when you take the character of this blackwood and the sassafras being vertical, the sonic value of all this, because sure, we can talk all day about it looking pretty, but when you take the tension off of timber, you drive that pitch down. And so things, you know, really lent itself to a unique sounding drum shell. And then, like, the mathematics for the thickness of the veneers and all this stuff, it's not an easy thing. And unfortunately, nobody teaches you this stuff. And we've got new glue configurations, and so, like, I couldn't contain myself. I wanted it to be somewhat understated, and I said, let's just put natural, the candy black burst on this bad boy. I wanted it to be classy. I wanted it to be elegant. And the black nickel hardware works great with it. 200 kits, 200 snares. The snares come with the drum kit, but 200 standalone snares as well. And they put a drum kit together. Remember, this is pure Tasmanian timber. This one has got a personality that we've never heard. And I don't think the world has ever heard. It'll be special for anyone who ever gets one of these drum kits. So different, but pure Tasmanian.